What is up, everybody? Welcome back. It has been a minute since both myself and Jacob have been on Bald and the Bearded. But anyway, this is Bald and the Bearded. I'm Robbie, joined along with
Jacob.
So, with what's going on in the world, and we were put on a relatively strict stay-at-home order, so we just kind of chilled. Me and Holly did a couple of things, but now things are starting to get back to a somewhat normal state here in the state of Florida. So hopefully we'll be able to start bringing these back, on our typical Wednesday or Thursday, whichever. Those are usually the days that our videos go up. So, Jacob, how have you been, man? It's been a minute.
Well, I mean, we've still been seeing each other, but...
We have, but we just couldn't record and do stuff like that. We've built a fence.
Or we did have time, but we were both too tired.
Yeah, we've built a fence. We've built gazebo, or I've built a gazebo. We've both built the fence. So that didn't leave too much time in our weekend to do fun stuff. Like play video games or do a podcast or just hang out. I'm happy with our fence, very happy. But I'm happy it's done.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't want to hear me and Jacob complain about our fence building or me having to build a gazebo or anything like that. We're going to get into some fun stuff. We both have watched the last season of Star Wars, The Clone Wars. That is something that I have waited many, many, many moons to come out with the last season. Loved the show growing up. I probably watched it through and through, probably 2 or 3 times. Had to rewatch it from the beginning because I'm doing a chronological order of Star Wars right now. So I finished Rogue One. And I actually finished Rogue One, got through the prequels. Now I'm working on the newer Star Wars movies with Rey and all them. So that's going to be fun. But we got the new season of Clone Wars. You particularly liked the clone troopers. What were they called? The ones that were in the black uniform.
Oh yeah, I can't remember their name. They're like the Misfits or something like that.
Right. They had one that was like a freaking tank.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty much any RPG game you're playing, and you have your tank, you have your damage dealer,
your scout.
It pretty much had those all there. That was super cool. What was some from the Star Wars Clone Wars show in general? What did you like?
My main thing, I told you about it, was the graphics cleanup. I mean,
Right.
Like you said, it was many years apart, so there's obviously a difference in the graphics detail and everything like that. But I just really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Right.
I mean, I think they did a good job covering the story part of it as well with Ahsoka and Rex and everything. Because I mean, I just also watched Rebels in 3 or 4 days.
Oh yeah.
So
both are great shows if you're into Star Wars.
Yeah.
I will say an asterisk beside Clone Wars. It starts off very kiddie because obviously when it came out, we were all like middle school, high school, elementary school, and as the show progressed, I won't say it pandered to an old, but it realized that we are older. And so the show grew with us, which is something that I liked because going back, like my friend Willis is watching it right now, and he's like, man, these first couple of seasons, he's like, they're so kiddie feeling. And I was like, if you can get past that, I was like, it does grow up, and it did, and I thought it was really good. I knew because before I'd gotten into the later seasons of Clone Wars, I went on and watched Rebels, so I knew that. Spoiler: if you haven't watched Rebels or you have not watched Clone Wars, probably not the episode to start back with us, because we're going to be talking about some spoilers. So. You've been warned. I knew that Ahsoka Tano at some point was going to leave the Jedi Order before Order 66 happens. Because, in Rebels, they're like, oh, it's, Ahsoka Tano, she's a Jedi Knight. She's like, I am no Jedi. So, you know, at some point she was going to leave the Order. But man, when she actually left the Order in the Clone Wars, like what happened and how the Council just kind of turned their back on her and Anakin in a way. It was a very emotional. I didn't cry, but I felt like the emotions. Like it was a very powerful moment in that show. What were your thoughts on that when Ahsoka said, they're like, well, we welcome you back. And she's like, nah, peace, fools.
Mm-hmm.
What was your thoughts on that?
I mean, I wasn't really surprised that she didn't go back, you know, because she wasn't ready.
Right. Well, I mean,
obviously she felt that it still hadn't changed since she left. So.
And she kind of saw where that Padawan was coming from, how, you know, the Jedi Order is just as much to blame for what's going on. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Palpatine was pretty much using them, you know, playing both hands against each other. But it was very, very strong. And then, you know, it kind of led to Anakin, you know, turning to the dark side, because doing that, it sowed those seeds of distrust into Anakin. So that right there left a bad taste in his mouth with the Council. Something about the show that I really did like was when Anakin would get angry anytime in the show or do something that a Jedi probably shouldn't be doing. You'd hear the subtle undertones of the Imperial March. You just hear, they play it in different ways, but you hear boom, 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 ba-dum, boom, ba-dum. And that just added to any scene like that. Do you have anything else on the Star Wars Clone Wars show?
I'll say this about the little kiddie parts of the show.
Right.
I didn't feel near as much of that in Rebels as I did in Clone Wars starting off.
Right.
Because Rebels, I mean, it's a Disney kids thing, but
well,
it's
and
you know, it's got some pretty serious lessons to pick up on.
But it's not it. The art style of Rebels, and we'll just go ahead and switch into Rebels, and kind of it'll be a bounce back and forth type thing. When it comes to Rebels did have a kid art style to it, but it was not kiddie at all. Another one of my friends, Luke, and his daughter just recently watched it, and he put it off because he thought it was going to be one of those super campy kid type shows. But I finally beat him down enough to where I told him it's not. It's good. And Zach Dykes from the Nerd Cave just recently watched it too, and same thing. He's like, all this time Robbie was right. I was like, I mean,
oh yeah, because I'm hoping maybe somewhere down the line they do some more seasons of it and find Ezra and everything, you know.
Right, and it was.
Because they definitely left it hanging where it could do that if they wanted it to.
Right, and you had Ahsoka come back, you had Darth Maul come back, you've seen Vader, you've seen my all-time favorite Star Wars character in Grand Admiral Thrawn was brought in, and the Timothy Zahn, the one who created Grand Admiral Thrawn in the books, you know, he was brought on to kind of, you know, say, okay, this is how he is, and you know, he wasn't going to let them portray Thrawn in a bad light. So Thrawn was done really well, and it was just a well put together Star Wars show that filled in that gap from Clone Wars to where that one, Revenge of the Sith. So it kind of it filled in a lot of questions that we had. You know, you saw the world post Order 66. You know, we were able to see Obi-Wan. We saw Rex. You know, Cody and Wolf and all. So a lot of really cool stuff from Rebels. What's some other stuff that you really enjoyed from the Rebels show?
I mean, I didn't really have any disses on it, man. I mean, I just thought it was a great show, obviously, because I binged it and I finished it in probably a week's time, honestly.
Right. And about the lessons, like there are all kinds of little lessons about good and evil, like balance. Such a great show. If you haven't watched it, either one of those shows, definitely get into it. It's worth watching. Just for just to know more about the Star Wars universe. That's what it's worth it.
And to add, I mean, this is kind of bouncing over to like Mandalorian and stuff like that, but I have seen like they might possibly put Sabine in the Mandalorian,
right?
And I saw something about Thrawn, maybe. I don't know if they were talking about him being in it or not, but I mean, I don't know if he made it through the Empire purge after that, after the Empire was destroyed. But we'll have to cover this in maybe next week's episode.
Right, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. I'm going to
do some research on that and see what all they're talking about for Mandalorian. But we're getting closer and closer to that.
Right, and there will be some flow over characters from Rebels, like you said, like adding in Sabine, because obviously Mando is a Mandalorian, and Sabine and her and Clan Ren. There's going to be a lot of carryover, so definitely watch these shows. Rebels and Clone Wars are on Disney Plus, so there's really no way you can say, well, I can't get access to it.
If you have Amazon Video and not Disney Plus, you can buy the seasons for like $10 a piece of Rebels. That's what I did.
So
because I liked it so much.
Right, it's not bad at all. It's worth the watch.
Oh yeah.
In some smaller news, there has been other stuff that have come to both Netflix and Hulu. Netflix has Avatar: The Last Airbender. Hulu has the first 4 seasons of Digimon. These are 2 shows. Like, I grew up watching Avatar: Last Airbender because of my little brother Trevor, because he really got into it. Me and Trevor watched it together. Great show. And then, of course, I grew up with Pokemon and Digimon, and a lot of people are going to hate on me.
Also, side note, Trevor still thinks he's an airbender.
Right, yeah. We've tried to break it to him many times. It just hasn't sunk in yet. But as a kid, I loved the Pokemon games more than the Digimon games. But the TV show, I prefer Digimon over Pokemon all day long. I think it's a better show. Did you watch either one of them?
Pokemon, I didn't watch much of Digimon.
Did you watch any of the Avatar show?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I watched the crap out of that show.
Right. Such a great show. A lot of good moral lessons. Like, you gotta listen to Uncle. Uncle knows best in that show. But some big gaming news that came out that me and Jacob are both extremely excited for is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I am a huge mythology buff. Obviously, I've really enjoyed the Egyptian mythology of Assassin's Creed brought us. I've enjoyed the Greek.
Oh yeah, Greek mythology is one of my favorite things.
Norse mythology is my favorite.
Well, yeah, that's up there with that.
Right.
I've rewatched History Vikings probably 3 or 4 times, but any Greek mythology movie, you're going to see me there buying tickets to see it at the movies.
Right. Speaking of actually Greek mythology, I think if Disney Plus is going to be doing the Percy Jackson TV show.
I saw that, yeah.
On Disney Plus. So
and the works for Hercules live action is in the works too.
So super excited about those. But back on Valhalla, like I said, big
oh yeah,
classical mythology buff. Real quick, I'll show you just how much. Like I said, big classical mythology buff. You saw in the first trailer when they're fighting the Romans and everything like that. You see, he looks over by a tree and there's this man there, and then all of a sudden he's not there, and a raven flies away, and he goes, "Odin is with us!" That's super exciting that we are going to be seeing maybe some of the gods. Like, will we see Loki? Will we see Thor? Like, how many of the gods are we going to get? Because, I look on, because I've been playing Odyssey. I haven't beat Odyssey yet. I do see missions where it does talk about like the gods. I don't know if you actually get to.
Yeah, and on the loading screen of Odyssey, it has Zeus standing next to you. But
Right.
I don't
Well,
know
if you look
in
at
any of the DLCs or anything like that.
you look at some of the missions, and some of the missions have some of the god stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you actually deal with fighting the gods or doing missions for the god. I don't know.
I would think it's for the gods, if anything.
But I mean,
I don't
it would
know.
still be cool to see.
Oh yeah.
Because we actually seen Odin in that one.
I just want to go to Mount Olympus. That's all I want to do.
Right.
I'll
So-
climb that thing if I have to.
So, what are you excited about
For Valhalla?
for Valhalla?
Oh, well, hopefully they put more, I mean, I like the ship content in Odyssey, because I like Black Flag as well.
Right.
And I like Odyssey because it's an in-between, you could do just as much on the water, well, not just as much, but you can go out on the water as much as you can go on the land, because it's a huge water map, obviously. Huge everything. Obviously, I'm sure they'll stick with the level-based stuff, which
Right.
is okay to me. Just, I'm not a huge fan of, well, I don't mind the level-based stuff. We'll just stick with that. But the combat system, I'm hoping it's different this time, not the same.
Well, they said, because I did watch the Microsoft's little thing they did about a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
They did say that they're going to change it up a little bit because obviously the way a Viking fights is extremely different than what a Spartan fights.
I would think it'd be more like
It's gonna be
Origins.
It's going to
because
be
of
more
Shield.
right, and it's going to be way more brutal.
And I did prefer Origins fight style to Odyssey with the parrying. I don't mind. I enjoy the parrying, but I do like having a shield.
I don't use the parrying hardly. I dodge more than anything. But I'm super excited because I saw where they'll have throwing axes, obviously, because
Oh yeah.
an axe is a Viking's.
And I
weapon
won't
of
be
choice.
surprised. It seems like so I kind of picked up on a trend of the Assassin's Creed games. So Assassin's Creed 3, which was Revolutionary War with Connor, and it had a little sneak peek. You captain the little ship in there, and then Black Flag came out, and you had that. But then you had Origins, and then you had a little ship in that, like the one on Odyssey.
Right.
And then you had Odyssey come out. So I feel like they'll still have these territory battles
Right.
and Vikings. So that way, I think that's going to be oriented into the next game as well.
I don't know, and that would be super cool. I'm cool with that
Oh, yeah.
because I like it with Athens and Sparta fighting in those. I just don't know if is it that character that we saw in the trailers? Is that who we're playing as, or are we going to be playing as someone different? Because if you're playing as that guy and he's in the Viking, there's no way that he's going to fight to defend, the Roman Empire or the British Empire or whoever they're fighting at that time. I just don't know how that's going to work. I liked it because you can get some really cool loot from it, but it's definitely going to be different. I feel like it's going to be much darker because if you look at Britain, it's super rainy, super muggy, dark, cloudy. So I think we're going to see you're going to be finding a lot of rain. I feel like.
I don't think it would be the Romans because you don't
I
hear
mean,
much about them in that time.
I meant to say
Yeah, I know what you mean.
the Britons because that's.
But there's no way to know really because I've watched Vikings all the way through and right now in the show it's they're fighting Russians basically.
Right.
Like the Rus Vikings.
So it's definitely going to be cool to see. Obviously, it's coming out this year.
Which is crazy that they've kept it hush-hush like this. So
right.
we may not hear much about it until it comes out.
So. You knew that it was a new game was going to come out. We just didn't know what it really was going to be.
Or when.
Yeah, but now we have an idea. As soon as more information comes out, we'll talk about it. Just be sure to stay tuned on our Facebook pages.
Mm-hmm.
Our Facebook page that we have, Bald and the Bearded, because we do post...
anything we see that's related.
Right, if it's something in pop culture that's big news, Obviously, we've had to report a few deaths, but we've reported a lot of really cool stuff, with the Assassin's Creed, with
which is scheduled to come out in November, if you haven't seen that already.
So be sure to stay tuned, and if you guys ever want us to talk about a topic or anything like that, please post it on the page, and we'll do our research and talk about it on the show. Because we're here to please you guys. That's what we're here for. We enjoy talking about the stuff. So more information you want us to talk about, just let us know. Anything else you want to add to this?
That does it for this week, sir.
Okay. Hopefully we are able to stay back on top of this now that the world is getting back somewhat in order. Like I said, thanks for watching, guys. If you do like this, be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, like, poke, follow.
Tell your wife, tell your kids, tell your grandma.
Yeah, tell everybody about the bald and the bearded. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been Robbie.
And Jacob.
Y'all have a great day.